in your journey?
Oh gosh, where do I start? So I was born in Czech Republic. Then it was Czechoslovakia, and I grew up there. I was raised there until I was almost 18, and that's when I came here. I had a really good childhood. I have a sister and brother. My brother is 13 years younger, and my sister is 4 years older.
Okay.
Um, so, yeah, we had a great childhood. I mean, it was different than what it is today. My mom was great. She was always the money maker, the breadwinner, like you guys say here. And I think our story is a little different compared to other people that would come from Europe because we literally had everything that we wanted. My mom always made sure that we were taken care of. And believe it or not, it wasn't as common to have bananas available or watermelons, oranges, apples, certain kind of meats, breads, you name it. It was like, exotic fruit was exotic fruit. So, but
Yeah.
we always had everything what we wanted and what we needed. So I can't complain. We spent most of our time outside playing with other kids. It wasn't like here. I can't imagine letting my kid go outside by himself, but that was the norm. We came home, we dropped our uh, bookcases or our book bags on the ground and ran outside. And when the time was for dinner, my mom would yell out the window our names and we would go back in.
Yeah.
Um, so I went to school. We walked to school, and
No
and I,
buses, or you just lived close?
well, we had buses. That was
Okay.
the main form of traveling. Not many people had cars,
Sure.
so trolleys, buses, and trams is how you would pretty much get anywhere. We did have a car. We ended up having a couple, but we just mostly traveled by buses, to be honest. I think the school was. I mean, it wasn't extremely far, but I think it was, a couple of miles to walk. And we walked like we would be walking today. Like what's going on outside? There's no way we would have a snow day in this. I mean, sometimes we had, a foot of snow and school's happening and you guys are walking. So it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. I mean, we moved a lot. Well, not a lot, but we've moved a couple of times. Um,
Just to different schools, or just different houses, or?
Different houses.
Okay.
Yeah, there was, some divorce and circumstances.
Sure.
A lot of people don't know, but at one point in my life, we've actually had 8 snakes, two caimans. We
What's a
had
Cayman?
so it's well, my son would explain it to you probably perfectly, and I hope he's not going to try to correct me, but it's I think their mouths are a little longer, so it's kind of like an alligator and
Okay.
crocodile.
Okay.
So I think I'm saying it correctly, but it's that type of species.
Huh.
We had two of those. We had three turtles. We had four dogs, and yeah, my snake Oscar. He was in my room, and he was like my dog. He would
D-
follow me around, and I would take him out, out of his territorium like every day, and that's how they get to know you. They use their tongue to like know who you are. So it's crazy,
Wow.
but
I
not many.
don't. I
Yeah.
don't do snakes.
Well, my
No
husband
way.
doesn't either. Yeah. I don't do snakes now either, but it's just it's crazy. We did have that at one point in our lives.
That's wild.
Yeah,
So growing up, going to school, did you do sports? Like, what's kind of what were you into growing up?
kind of the same way I am now. I'm kind of dabbing a little bit into everything. I
Okay.
haven't quite figured out yet what my calling is yet, but I played piano for a long time. I sang in the choir. I was part of the dance group. I did gymnastics for a little bit. I tried some sports. I was a really good runner, but only short distance. I couldn't do long distance. I got
Sure.
cramps. I was also very good at. I'm pretty sure you guys have a name for it, but when you run and then jump in the sand, whatever that's called.
Like long jump.
Yeah, long jump.
Yeah.
I was really good at that too. So I did a little bit of everything, but I think I played piano the longest, and
Okay.
it's kind of a shame because it's not like riding a bike. I haven't played for years, And a couple of years ago, I got a piano, and you literally have to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's not like you pick up a bike and you're like, okay, cool, I can do this. I have to learn how to read the notes again. And it's just like getting a first lesson.
No, it's I didn't. I mean, I knew you had the piano because you just moved recently, and we've talked about that,
Hmm.
and that was one of your concerns. But I didn't know that you actually played growing up, and
I
no, that's
did. So
cool.
I'm
That's
starting
cool.
again.
So now you're getting through high school, right? And 18, you says when you came over to the United
Mhm.
States. What was that transition like? And I don't know because I think you might be the only person I know that came from Europe that I personally know. What was that, and especially at that age, right? Like 18, you grew up, you had all of your friends growing up, and then you came over to the United States. What was that like?
Well, for me, it was horrible. I hated life.
I'm sure.
I hated life, and part of it is also the way it happened. Um, we were, my stepdad and my mom weren't very honest with us at the time, and they came here for an opportunity 6 months prior to me and my sister arriving.
Okay.
And when we came, we were told that, or before we came, we were told that we're just coming here and visit for summer, and that we're going to go back and, continue living in Czech. Well, when we arrived, they told us that basically they sold everything and we are not going back. And this is where we're going to live now.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you, it was a culture shock because, I've only heard about America or seen America in the movies, and you see New York, you see California, and you see all the good stuff in the movies. And when we arrived, we flew to Chicago, and then we were in Indianapolis, and it was not a good area. Someone got shot the first day I was here. I mean,
Wow.
it was horrible. I cried for months. I knew a little bit of English, but not really, not much. I had a boyfriend back home. I didn't want to be here. I just felt like, my whole life basically fell apart.
Yeah.
Um, Clearly that has changed with time, but at first it was not a good transition for us. We were in an apartment with other people. It was not a very clean apartment, and I wasn't used to that back in Czech because we had a nice place, we had a little farm, we were pretty well off there, and I couldn't understand why are we here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the biggest shock for me was how you cannot get anywhere without a vehicle.
Mm.
Everything in Europe was pretty much available to you, walk-in distance, grocery store, bank, post office. It was really easy to get to. That wasn't the case when we came here. I mean, if I wanted to go to Kroger or a grocery store, dry cleaner or whatever, post office, you had to drive everywhere.
Yeah.
And the buses here are very different than what the buses were there like. I've actually still have never been on a bus here in the United States.
I haven't. Well, I mean, if you count Ohio State's bus, but I don't know if you count those buses.
No, I don't think it counts as a bus. No.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's crazy. And I kind of like you. I went to three different schools growing up, and I can only imagine. I made my last move in school my freshman year of high school. I left and I went from a small school where we had I don't even know 50 some kids in a classroom to a school with 270 to me, which was a huge shock.
Wow.
But I remember back then because I was going into my freshman year and I played a bunch of sports and I didn't want to leave my friends and trying to figure out ways of staying back in my hometown when my parents were leaving, right? Like, can I stay? Can I live with my grandparents? Kind of, because I wanted the sports. And I can only imagine traveling so many miles, thousands of
Mhm.
miles away. Um, did you have any communication back and forth? I mean, like, was there any like calling, like long distance calls? Like, it was almost just cut dry, or did you have some sort of communication?
We had communication. I mean, it was
Okay.
pricey. You had to get like those cards in a gas station, so we would get those. They
Yeah.
were the international cards, that you would use with landline mostly. Those were the cheapest thing to get if you wanted to make an international call. I don't think then Verizon or any of those phone subscribers had any of those plans like they do now that you can call long distance and have it on your phone.
Yeah.
So we just used those cards, but it was difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
you are over the ocean, miles away. So obviously, my relationship with my boyfriend ended very quickly, but we tried. But,
I
uh,
hey, hey, I can only imagine what that was like,
so
you
that
know.
was crazy, but
So you finally get here, right? 18 years old. Did you go to college? Did you just jump into the workforce? Kind of
no,
what was
I never went to school here in the
okay?
United States. The only school I went to was Honduras, and that was for real estate school. So I started working right away, and I did housekeeping, and that was interesting. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm an open book, so I don't know how much I can share. I'm legal
Any
now, but